Hi everyone. I'm here to address the situation that's been coming out in social media about Jordan B. Peterson. And before I do this, I just want to give you a few facts. Just so you know, statistically, 1 in 4 doctor's visits will end in a benzodiazepine prescription. And benzodiazepine-related deaths have increased tenfold over just about the past decade or so. So this is a huge issue, and unfortunately, the issue is much bigger than just the overdose deaths that we're hearing about. As in the case with Jordan Peterson, I'm seeing a lot of stories that are saying Jordan Peterson's an addict and he's dealing with addiction, and it's very clear to anybody who understands the difference between addiction and dependence that this is not a case of addiction. Jordan P. Peterson, from what I understand, was prescribed a benzodiazepine by a psychiatrist here in the United States, and it was Klonopin. His psychiatrist believed that he was on a low dose for a short period of time and basically advised him to cold turkey or maybe rapidly taper. For those of us who understand how benzodiazepines work, there's really, especially in like when it comes to Klonopin and Xanax, there's no such thing as a low dose. I mean, half a dose or half a milligram of Klonopin would be equivalent to about 10 milligrams of Valium, according to the Ashimale conversion chart and the conversion charts at benzoreform.org, which is the nonprofit I work with. It's the Alliance for Benzodiazepine Best Practices. It's doctors and researchers who are the experts in benzodiazepines. I mean, nobody knows more about benzodiazepines basically than these doctors and people within the benzodiazepine community who have been researching this forever. Okay, so Jordan Peterson gets off this Klonopin too quickly, and he is like severely injured, probably from not only just being on it but getting off too quickly. Benzodiazepines aren't meant to be prescribed more than 2 to 4 weeks, but even then you can be on it for less than that and still get an injury. I was on my medication for about 5 or 6 days before I cold turkeyed, and I'm here years later with this injury. So you could be doing things safely and you could still have a severe injury. It sounds like after this, his family researched treatments or detoxes or something like that. They ended up in Russia doing some kind of a detox, from what I understand, withdrawal protocol. Now, just so people understand, there's no magic like withdrawal protocols out there. I mean, if there were, I would be telling you about them. And I've told you about the things that work. It could be that he did some sort of a Flumazenil program. Flumazenil is kind of like an opiate blocker for opiates, except it's for benzodiazepines. It just stops your body from uptaking that. And really, it's an extreme detox. It's basically like an extreme cold turkey because now your body can't get any benzodiazepines. It's not something I would recommend based on my knowledge. I've heard some horror stories about it, quite frankly. It is a treatment that some people at Benzo Reform are looking into for like a post-withdrawal recovery thing that maybe could help people's receptors to heal. But from what I understand, honestly, it doesn't sound like this worked all that wonderfully for Dr. Peterson, because he is, from what I've heard, he has akathisia. He's still severely incapacitated, and that's unfortunate because doctors will do these detox protocols and load you up on like anti-seizure meds and then be like, woohoo, it's a success, you didn't have a stroke or a seizure and die. So like that's the success bar that they have, but they're not measuring what happens weeks, months, and years down the road as you're healing from this major damage to your brain and nervous system. It's unfortunate, and I really truly wish the best for Dr. Peterson and his family. I have discussed things that do help people, that do ease the withdrawal process or can help people to recover more quickly or better after they go through it. I discussed a lot of this on my video interview with Sarah Price Hancock. I'm kind of bummed actually that hasn't gotten more views because she gives a lot of great information in there. But for anybody out there who is looking for more help, just real quickly, there are withdrawal treatment centers that use NAD therapy. The one Sarah discusses is a form of NAD therapy that combines that with a kind of like a nutrient therapy. And in her experience in working and doing research with that doctor, it did help a lot of people, not just with benzos, but with opiates or any other sort of psychiatric drugs that they were prescribed. And it is my understanding that Dr. Peterson was on other psychiatric medications, possibly before this, in dealing with, the stress of a wife going through cancer and just everything else that life throws at you. So, I'm not faulting him for that or anything that he has done. We've all made these mistakes. But when you're the kind of person who has this kind of a sensitivity to benzodiazepines, you're going to be more likely to have sensitivity to other drugs too, especially psych meds. One of the things I heard is that he was dealing possibly with some kind of an autoimmune illness. For those of us in the community who have ever been diagnosed with an autoimmune illness while taking psychiatric meds, raise your hand. Like, that is one of the symptoms of people who aren't responding well to these meds. So again, I have a lot of hope for Dr. Peterson because I know that you can heal from these things. I know that there are other possibilities out there, and that he just has to find the right ones for him. And not everything works for everyone. There's that NAD therapy, there's stem cell therapy, which I'm currently using, that has been used to help people go through withdrawals and ease the process. But, not everybody has access to that. It sounds like he has means and money, and maybe he can look into one of these things. True Hope is another option. They're actually based out of Canada, where he's from, and they use nutrient therapy to kind of help guide people off of their medications, and kind of help them through the recovery process. I know a lot of people have seen benefit from that. There's a company here in the US, Daily Central Nutrients, and Renovo, which is an offshoot of that. So there are options, but yeah, as far as like the sort of speculation that there's some amazing treatment in Russia, I mean, if there were something, I'm pretty sure the doctors I work with would have heard of it. So I'm skeptical, but I'm not dissing anybody or anything like that. Anyway, I just wanted to get on here real quick and address that, because as this is going around, there's just a lot of misinformation out there. And really, at the end of the day, folks, the safest option is a slow taper from your benzodiazepine. Maybe a diet change. A lot of people find it helpful to try a ketogenic diet because that actually affects a lot of these things that kind of are injured by the benzodiazepines. That can be super helpful. Other people just find it helpful to do something like a paleo diet or other things. But it's different for everybody. Everybody's history is different. And if you've ever taken a benzodiazepine before and cold turkeyed it and then gotten back on, your risks get higher and higher. That sounds like Dr. Peterson. He's, from what I understand, again, I'm getting some of this piecemeal information, but that he has akathisia, which is so severe and so awful. And I really hope that passes for him soon. But, I would just really caution people, if you're having this kind of reaction, adding in more medications, you're just adding one layer of complication on top of the other. So keep it simple, keep it safe, keep it slow. If you have any questions, of course, post them down below. I'm trying to be really, really diligent about getting back to people. Watch my other videos. Pretty much all the information that we have out right now about benzos and withdrawal is on my videos. It's on my tapering playlist. I have an entire Ashton Manual playlist that you can watch. Anyway, I gotta go back to my kids and do some shopping. So I love you all. I'm wishing you all a full recovery and the very best.